here we have a rational equation. We're trying to solve for y. And the first thing we're going to want to do is factor. Okay? So the thing is, on this one, they're pretty much factored out as far as we can go. But this 28, I want to think about what goes into 28. 7 and 4, right? So I can change this to a 7 and a 4. All right? So one of the things I want to do before I solve for y's, excuse me, I want to find a common denominator. Okay? What would be my common denominator here? You want each factor to be represented once. So we already have a 4 here, we have a 4 here, so we want that represented once, right? We want a 7, because that's represented once. And then what's the other one that's represented once? Y plus 2. Okay, do you guys see how I found that? Yeah. We want every factor to be represented once, okay? So we have 4 times 7 times y plus 2, and that's going to be our common denominator in this case. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this, okay, just to make it easier. I'm going to multiply each of my terms in this by this common denominator. So I'm going to multiply it by 4, 7, and y plus 2.
Wait, I thought you didn't multiply it by the one that's already in there.
Well, we're going to cancel some things out here in a minute, okay? I'm going to minus 3 over y plus 2 times this again. Equals 9 over 4 times 7. Yep, you're going to go through and cancel some stuff out now, okay? So, look at the first one, the first term. What can I cancel out of that one? A 4, okay? So I am left with 3 times 7 times y plus 2 now. What can I cancel out of the second term? Y plus 2. So I'm left with 3 times 4 times 7. Okay, what can I cancel out of the last one? 4 and 7. So I'm left with 9 times y plus 2. Okay? Okay, so now, let's simplify all this out. What's 3 times 7? 21. So I'm going to change that to a 21, and I'm going to multiply that through this binomial. What do I have? 42. Good. What is 3 times 4 times 7? Yep, which is 84. Good. Okay, and then the next one you're going to, yep, 9y plus 18. We got to solve for y.
Why?
Because I told you to. Ha ha ha. Just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I can put these two together, right? So I'll have 21y minus 42 equals 9y plus 18.
Hold on, 42 minus 84 is 42?
Mm-hmm. Add 42 to both sides. Yep. Okay, and then you have 9y plus 60 and 21 over here. Now what? Minus 9y. I'm going to scroll this down a little. Minus 9y. So I have 12y equals 60. Yep. Divide by 12, so y is 5. Well, there's a lot of steps. A lot of steps.
After the first step, though, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy when you say What?
Okay, so on this one, once again, we need to find a common factor, but before I even go on, I'm just going to put W over 1, because our 1 is our denominator in this case, okay? So, it's already factored for us. You can't simplify it any more than that. So what would our common denominator be in this case? W minus 1. So I want to multiply each of these by W minus 1. Okay. So basically I can get rid of this 1. It's just a 1, right? So what's W times W? W squared, and W times negative 1? Minus W, okay? Here, this cancels, right? So I'm left with a positive W. What cancels on this side? Yep. Okay. Okay, so first of all, these two can go together. What happens to both of those? They cancel out. So I have W squared equals 4W minus 3. Now, we got a W squared. That tells me I have a quadratic, and I need to use the box method to solve for that. So before I can even do that, I need to put it all on one side. So to get this 4W to the other side, I'm going to subtract it, right? And to get this negative 3 to the other side, I'm going to add it.
What? Okay, I'm confused.
I subtracted 4W from both sides, so I get this.
Subtract 4. Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I need to move it to the other side. Subtract 4W. And I need to add 3 to both sides to get that to the other side.
Okay, that makes
So that's how I got that. Then you use the box. So let's make a box. We got W squared here and a 3. So multiply that out. We got 3W squared. Yep, it'd be 1 and 3. That's our only option, but which one's negative? Oh, so this should be a 3, by the way. Oh, only one of them. Oh, yeah, both. You're right. They're both negative because it has to add up to be a negative 4W. So we got negative 3W here and negative 1W here. Since they're both negative here, I need to make sure they're negative on the outside too, okay? Okay, so what can I take out of the top line? A W. How about the bottom line? 1. Left side. Right side. 3. So my factors are W minus 1 and W minus 3 equals 0. Yep. So your final answer, if you set both of these equal to 0 and solve for W, you have W equal 1 and 3. So, on this one, first step we got to do is factor the one that's not factored yet. And that's this one right here, right? So what would be my factors for that one? X minus 5 and X plus 5, using the difference of squares. Okay? So, looking at that, I need to have each of my factors represented once for what I'm going to multiply by. So what do I have? X minus 5 and X plus 5 is what I'm going to multiply everything by. Okay? So let's do that. We have X minus 5 over X plus 5 times this. And do the same thing for the second term. A lot of writing. I like the next step of this when you get to actually start crossing things out. That's fun. It's like checking things off your list. Okay? So we got it set up. Let's start crossing them out. This is my favorite part. Cross, cross. So I got that done. So my two factors here that I'm left with is x minus 5 times x minus 5. Okay, and this one I can cancel this one. And I have x plus 5 times x plus 5. And this one's even better because I can cancel them both. So I have 100. Okay. Once you get to this point, what do you think you're going to have to do to solve it? Foil it, yep. Or box method multiply if you want to do it that way. Whatever way you want to multiply these together, you need to do that. Okay? Yep, so eventually, yes, it will. Okay, so first we're going to FOIL or use the box method to multiply these two sets of numbers together. Okay, so I'm going to change my color here, use purple. X times x is what? Okay, and then I have negative 5x, and then again, negative 5x for doing FOIL. And then the last one is negative 5 times negative 5 plus 25. Minus, don't forget that minus sign. And you're going to put this all into a big parentheses because that's going to be important later on. Okay, so once again, x times x is x squared. Then we have 5 times x. And then another 5 times x. And then 5 times 5 is 25. Equals 100. Yep. So let's simplify this out. We have x squared minus 10x plus 25 minus x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 100. Now, what happens with this second polynomial because we have this negative sign in front?
It becomes a negative.
Right, so everything inside of here becomes negative because we have this negative in front. I'm going to change this to a positive. Okay? So what cancels out?
The x squared
The x squareds cancel
and the 25.
and the 25 cancel. What are we left with?
Negative 20x.
Yep, because negative 10x plus a negative 10x is negative 20x equals 100.
Wait, how did negative x squared cancel out with a regular x squared? A positive x squared does not cancel out.
Yeah, it does because we have this negative sign. We are subtracting this whole second polynomial.
Yeah, but x squared.
Okay, so we're left with this, and if we solve by dividing both sides by negative 20, we have x equals negative 5. Look at our denominators. What is our common denominator going to be? Yep, 2p plus 3 and 2p minus 3. Okay? So I need to multiply each of our terms by that. Okay? So go ahead and write that out. That's the first term. A lot of writing. Okay? But, like I said, once you get it all written out, then comes the fun part of crossing everything out. Okay? So on the first term, what can I cancel out? Yeah, I can get rid of that. So I am left with 2p times 2p minus 3. minus, the second one, what can I cancel out? Okay, so then I'm minus 2p times 2p plus 3. And then the last one is just what it says here, so we're going to have to FOIL that. Okay? So what do I have when I multiply these together? 4p squared minus 6p, right? And here I have minus, because it's a negative, minus 4p squared minus 6p.
Negative 2 times 3.
Okay, yeah, so if we multiply all this out, let's FOIL it out. We have 2p times 2p, which is 4p squared. Okay, 2p times negative 3 is negative 6p. And then positive 3 times 2p is plus 6p. And then this would be a negative 9, right?
No, the 6p cancels each other.
Yeah, these two cancel each other out. What else cancels each other out over here?
4.
Yeah, those will cancel each other out, right? So we're left with negative 12p equals 4p squared minus 9. Okay, so it's a quadratic. We got something to the second. I need to get everything to the same side.
So plus 12.
Yep, plus 12p to both sides. So I have 0 equals 4p squared plus 12p minus 9. So everybody, what do we do when we have a quadratic to solve? Box. Four p squared and negative 9. So what are those two multiplied to each other? Negative 36p squared. So what goes in a negative 36p
That equals 4.
that equals 12?
2.
Well, one of them has to be negative and one has to be positive.
Oh.
So that won't work, right? Because that would cancel each other out.
It equals a positive 12.
Well, one has to be negative because we have a negative 9 here. See, remember we multiplied these together, we have negative 36?
Yeah, but it equals a positive 12.
Yes, we're looking for a positive 12. So, but if I use 6 and 6 and one of them being negative, add those together, what do you get? 0. So that can't be it. 3 and 12?
No, it doesn't work.
3 and 12 doesn't work either, right? Because we need to end up being 12.
4 and 9.
4 and 9?
No, no, that's 30.
We don't have anything, do we?
No.
So guess what?
What do you use?
The box doesn't work.
Oh, see if you
You have to use the quadratic formula on this one. So I'm not going to make you guys go through that. But just write down quadratic formula for this one. Okay? I'm not going to make you do that. But you know what you have to do to solve for that. So we're looking at number 1 for the worksheet. And what we're looking at, let's just read it. Working alone. Shanice